mean, it's just me that hears it that way, or
no, it speeds up.
Yeah. It's like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. It's the Sports Den. Another Monday without a coach in Jacksonville.
I see the vision though. I you know, you take advantage of it, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're of the culture.
Okay.
And when we were doing the show live, not what we do the show live now. We were doing the show at 10:10. I used to have the joke about, real moments in Black history and just come up with fake war. Like Willie Taggart is a Black history fact.
Mhm.
Biggest scammer in African American scammer in Florida sports history. But then I thought,
Urban Meyer took that. He's just not African American.
he's just not African American.
Right,
That's what I'm saying.
right.
Like you got to just it's a first. I know people-
Urban's
yeah.
the first 11 months of the year is what you're
Right,
saying.
right,
But this
right.
1 month is Willie Taggart.
Yeah.
month.
This is Willie Taggart.
It's fair.
Willie Taggart.
Okay.
Because a lot of people were like, why they got to have a month? Why they got? Well, because we're still having a lot of firsts.
Mhm.
Once the firsts are no longer,
Mhm.
like now you just kind of just whip it in, and it's all American history, but
Mhm.
it's okay. We're a mixing bowl. Out of many, e pluribus unum. Out of many, we're one. But imagine we've already made history, not Black, not African American history, because Shaheed is a Muslim, but he's brown.
Mhm.
First minority owner in the NFL, still history. Minority head coach, minority general manager. As we joked on Friday, all Black front office.
Mhm.
What better day to release it than the first day of Black History Month? That's
Well,
tomorrow.
there's one problem with that, though.
It's tomorrow.
You're giving them way too much credit.
I know.
I know it's tomorrow.
No,
because
I'm saying I know. I know I'm giving it too much credit, but I'm just saying maybe that's the Tony's with the the minstrel show that is wrestling.
Mhm.
Maybe he's just like, hey, this is what
Drama.
we got to do. Yeah, drama.
I'll tell you
sells.
how I know for a fact that tomorrow is the start of Black History Month, because my iPhone reminded me of it today. My iPhone has never reminded me of anything.
Wait a minute.
Yes. I woke up.
Should I be offended?
I woke up this morning. You're Black. They already know that. They know you.
Okay, because the iPhone definitely did not tell me, like, hey, James.
No, they're telling all the white people.
Telling all okay, that makes sense.
So we know.
White people, hey, not sure if you realize this or not. It's Black History Month.
Yeah, no, I woke up this morning, looked at my notification, it says tomorrow is the start of Black History Month. I'm like, I've never gotten tomorrow is Christmas. Tomorrow
funny.
is your birthday. Tomorrow is none of that.
That's hilarious.
But I'm dialed into Black History Month. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm gonna celebrate it. I would like maybe some advice.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no idea how you celebrate Black History Month. I've never had any festivals or anything. Now that I think about it, I think we're missing the mark. I think we should. America loves celebration.
That's what I'm saying.
Why don't we celebrate? Like,
what is it? What I mean,
I know Juneteenth is something that I know a lot of white people were excited about this year, because it's the 4th of July for Black people. Technically, June 19th was the date that everybody.
But why were white people excited?
Because they're just like, all right, they're federal holiday now.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That you get off. It's just
okay.
At a certain point, yes, there is real things behind all of our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you don't believe and you don't like it, I got to tell people like, oh, you guys celebrating that fake holiday of Christ being born, blah, blah, blah. Don't take off. You go work.
Mm-hmm.
You work and let the rest of us have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Don't give your kids presents.
Or my woke friends, hey, you over there celebrating the oppressors' independence. Your people wasn't. I like barbecue. I celebrate June 17th for some good barbecue.
If you don't,
I'm about to celebrate President's Day, and I don't even know which presidents are all in there.
If you don't like barbecue, beer, and fireworks, you're in the wrong country. I don't say this often, but you need to move.
Yeah, it's just
Yes.
And what you're gonna find is, which is funny, is that you may go somewhere else and they may celebrate it harder than you to another country. Like
exactly,
like people telling me about Halloween in Spanish countries is just like lit.
Really?
Oh man, they get after
That's
it.
my least favorite holiday.
Halloween? Yeah, a bunch of random people that you don't really like talking to coming and knocking on your door, and,
exactly.
and you're required. Like people talk about the Starbucks like pay it forward thing. Really, at the end of the day, if you don't want to pay it, just be an adult. Don't pay it. You don't have to make a big fuss about it. Blah blah blah.
People still talking about the pay it forward?
No, I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah.
Halloween is an intrusion on your kindness, because it used to be like if the light is off,
yep,
don't come. They don't care.
No.
They're going to come knock on your door, and they're going to keep knocking until somebody answers for some candy.
Another reason why I love my neighborhood. This neighborhood don't do Halloween really, bro.
They don't?
Nah.
Well,
We ain't worried about that over here in these mean streets.
I don't mind it. I used to I think I don't mind it more because you ever lived I know this, we're gonna get into, we gotta get into sports soon, but you ever just think about how things you were raised on, right? With your parents, and then how your parents are now, and it's is it like a 180 from how you remember growing up on some stuff?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Halloween, we can't celebrate Halloween. It's the devil's holiday. It's this, it's that. You like the spirits and ghouls. And
you're gonna get your mom was like that?
Well, I mean, my mother's very into her church and very religious. And there were some things that we would go do. Like I went trick-or-treating, like with my friends. My friend, because it was the other thing is during that time, it was more acceptable for kids to see another kid and just go knock on the house and ask if such and such can come out. So especially when the weekends happen, I would go trick-or-treat as long as I was back home by a certain time. But we go to the mall. They had safe trick-or-treat, and then I think church had that. I remember went to Africa, tried to bring her back some masks. They can't bring those back because we don't know what kind of witchcraft or voodoo. So now these cats go. My mom doesn't care. She's buying Halloween costumes.
What?
She's buying tons of Christmas.
What
gifts.
changed her? The Ghetto Boy song?
No, I think that might have been the reason why she didn't want to be going out. That's also part of the reason why I really like Halloween Bushwick Bill's verse.
Right.
This year Halloween fell on a weekend. Me and Ghetto Boys is trick or treating. But
it's the only thing I think of when I think of Halloween.
It's a great that, and then you were basically grown when this happened. There was a Nickelodeon used to have a short that would come on. It was Pete and Pete. It was like about two brothers, and they would do stuff, and they had a really cool ass Halloween episode where they basically they're middle America, but they would go different time zones. So they started in Eastern time zone to go trick-or-treating. Then they kept going back so that they could keep trick-or-treating the rest. Like they didn't have to stop.
You know what that reminds me of? And then we will get into sports. When the year 2000 happened, there was this rich group of people that found out a way to play the first round of golf in the new century before they played the last round of golf in the old.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But that's
a lot of money.
Conspiracy thing. Like we thought how many times I can only imagine my grandmother, like how many times she's had to sit there and believe that the world is going to come to an end in her adult life. It's got to get older. At a certain, the last one, I was just like, all right, man, we're dying.
What happens first? The Jags hire a coach, or the world comes to an end?
Asteroid hits not hits the world. The asteroid hits America.
Jacksonville.
And they still keep balking.
Balky saves us. It is the Sports Den brought to you by ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. Make sure you get to ABC, especially if you are a Jags fan right now, because it's the only thing you got going for you right now. Yeah.
Life ain't really going well.
No, it's not. And I know we have, a fair amount of people that listen to us outside the market, but y'all are going to have to deal with us on this because this needs to be more of a national story because now it's just getting wild. I will admit, last week when the Leftwich rumors came up, I was like, okay, they're just posturing. Give it 48 hours. This thing's going to be done. Man, we ain't hearing nothing. Literally nothing in Jacksonville. It is, if you thought that it was hard to lose 20 games in a row, Shad is now showing you what is even more impossible but easy to do.
Like, not hire a coach.
There's 32 of these. There's literally 32 of these.
And you were the first, right?
You were the first. Oh, well, no, Gruden.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Right. You were the first that wasn't forced. The hand wasn't forced.
I mean, it was kind of forced.
Well, no, I mean,
can't be out there.
You can't just keep losing. If you would have won games, nobody would have cared about you taking snaps.
Well, kicking legs and, I mean,
you're
point right. Being,
nobody's firing a coach. I guess collectively, yes. But nobody's waking up and saying the kicker's the only player on the roster that can say, hey, the coach kicked me. You need to. This is wrong. HR is looking at them, and they've never played.
What if they rehire Urban?
That looks like what's about to happen. Or Marone. Marone's looking for a job right now.
It's wild, man. And you read a stat Friday about Trent Baalke, who is the problem, the issue. Well, nope. He is a issue because Shad is just as
bad.
Yes. You read a stat about Trent Baalke as the record the last 5 years, but what you failed to mention in that reading was that the last 5 years that Trent Baalke has been employed,
he's fired 5 coaches, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought. That's why I was. I
don't think we got there. I think we were stuck on the record. Like, that's crazy. No wonder nobody wants to come here. I mean, you're interviewing guys. Think about this. You're interviewing guys for their dream job, what they have worked their entire life for. And Trent Baalke is so bad that they're saying no thank you. They ain't saying no thank you. They're laughing at you collectively.
I try to explain to my friends the business side of stuff, like of sport, because that's the most interesting thing since we've been in media. I've played, I got that part. I kind of I've coached, but not on that level, but I still understand having interacted with coaches. But since I've been in media, like, oh, this is what going to the where we got yelled at, the state of the jet. But those things do interest me. So I'm like, okay, well, fine. Also noticing that when teams are good and you do sports radio, your income generation goes up a little bit more. I'm astonished at all of this. It's like it is
almost speechless.
But I'm like telling people like, yo, you've been a head, and I said on Friday, if you've been a head coach before, you do these interviews to keep relevant, and sometimes you can't know until you know. Like right now, I'm using Brian Flores as an example, he interviews with today with New Orleans, which will be interesting.
I'm game.
But like you come in and you're like, all right, I know what I liked and what I didn't like about my past situation. I'm a first-time head coach. I gotta take this job and pray it works out, even though I may not get another opportunity. But when you get a second chance, you sure as hell ain't walking into the things that the red flags you saw at the last one. You'd rather, especially if you got a buyout. You don't have to rush it. Next year comes around, or you'll go be a coordinator somewhere, or something else will happen for you. But to see vets pass over and to see guys who will be rookie coaches pass over for other opportunities, and then to see the ineptitude. So would be the perfect week to finish it out if you truly liked the Rams offensive coordinator, right? All you had to do was bring him in for interview 1, and then you get a chance to do interview 2. But now that you didn't bring him in for interview 1, you have to wait until he's done playing. So we have to wait 2 weeks for one candidate. So now he's no longer a candidate. He can't be a candidate.
Listen, I know the guys that he hangs around with. He ain't coming in here with Baalke either. It ain't happening. Like it's just it didn't happen with Hackett. It ain't gonna happen with him. I don't know. I think that's the part, because when people say, and you joked about it the other day when you say, well, what does Trent Baalke have on Shad Khan? Listen, if Trent Baalke really has something on Shad Khan, you know what Trent Baalke would get? A fat check, not a job.
Right.
Like, Shad Khan is a multi-billionaire. Shad Khan could write him a check for $10 million and say, Trent, keep it quiet. Not, Trent, you work for me. You know what I mean? Like that. That's so there's something weird about this that nobody can put their finger on, and we can all guess, but at the end of the day, nobody knows. We just all know it's super weird, and it is the weirdest thing that has happened in the history of a weird franchise. I mean, you think about everything that's gone on. This takes the cake.
Yeah.
And I don't even know that there's a close number 2. I mean, I'm watching the Rams last night, and I'm watching Jalen. And, Jalen, I like Jalen.
Yeah.
At times, Jalen's hard to pull for, because he does some stuff that just makes you go, come on, Jalen. But I like Jalen, and I'm glad they won. That was weird. That's not even in the same.
Jalen winning and going to.
No, the way Jalen left.
Oh, yeah.
That was weird. But that's not even in the same stratosphere as this.
Well, Jalen being weird became less weird when you looked at, you had Unique bounced. You had one guy just say, I'd rather go crazy than play for you guys.
Telvin.
So it's been more detractors and people have left since. Then they got rid of Calais, which was kind of like, why?
Right.
He's still good.
The year he won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award.
You're like, all you hear about is that's the locker room. We need a better locker. He's the guy. So what do? You get rid of the guy.
Yep.
And
get rid of Malik.
Well, you did that before the year before.
The year before, but yeah.
It's just it's
But what's the common denominator? Because we all blame
the common denominator. I've said this. I said this before Urban came. Is that you got to get rid of you got to do it, clean it out, pressure wash it.
I'm afraid that's not going to help.
Bleach it, possibly implode it.
I'm afraid it's not going to help because we all blamed, and maybe rightfully so. I have no idea. We blame Coughlin, we blame Caldwell, we blame Gus Bradley at the time. But the common denominator shot,
right?
And you can't get rid of him.
Yeah. Unless he fires himself, which does not happen, or somebody.
Can we start a GoFundMe to buy it?
Now, here's a way to get rid of him, and I can't.
What's it going to take? $2 billion?
Man, that's a good question. I would say 3 at this point.
3, really?
I think they're the value of the NFL and how high it's going up.
Yeah, I thought we could raise 2. I don't know if we can raise $3 billion.
I've heard the joke with people with millions say, "Well, once I made my first million, the second million was easy." Or like once you make your first, no, I can't. There's a lot of zeros in between those things. I mean, it's a long way from one. So if I got $2 billion, it's a long way from $1 to another $1 billion.
Yes,
I don't care.
Yeah,
what happens unless you put it all on black and you luck up.
Well, I mean, what if we did that? What if we raised Bill, double down twice?
Well, this is what we have to do. And Balky's the perfect guy, but I don't think Balky has the city's best interest in his mind.
You think?
But
Balky's all about Balky.
What if we did this, Trent? I know you're listening, so I'm going to offer you
Trent and his twin brother Ben.
Yeah, Trent and Ben. I'm not even actually no. I'm trying. This is serious.
Okay.
So there's no disrespect. There's no jokes. There's nothing in this. Trent, I need you focused. Okay. And I'm going to give you.
Why do I have a feeling something mad disrespectful?
Executive head coaching. Excuse me, not executive president, whatever kind of title you want. But basically, you're second in command. I'm going to bump you from GM because at GM he could do dangerous to the football field. If I give him president like of ops, he's got other things that he has to mess up.
Okay, what's he have to
so he might mess up the fan experience and other things, but we can hire.
If we win, the fan experience is fine.
It's all right. You know how you were leaking the stuff about Urban? If you don't have anything on them, which I think you kind of do, and you're just short-sighted, like a guy had is tracking Elon Musk is playing, and Elon Musk said, "I'll give you $5,000." He said, "I'll give you $5,000 to stop tracking my plane." And put it on Twitter. And the kid said, "Give me 50,000 or a Model T or whatever the Tesla car is." That's one of the richest men in the world.
You could have added a 0.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying. Like, dude, like you're asking, he doesn't think he thinks you're a joke right now. You should have been like, dude, I'll stop it. Give me $5 million.
Right.
Still, okay, $5 million to him is like somebody asking me for 100.
Right.
If you give me 50, if they ask for $10,
technically somebody asking for probably 10.
Okay, whatever. The point is like, all right, I offered you $1, and then you counter and say, give me $2, and then make it
right.
Like I'm like, all right, man, you're whatever. Just keep tracking.
Keep
0. Keep tracking.
Yeah, that's cute.
But I need you to pull it out. I need you whatever. I need you to find something, plant evidence.
So what you're going anti-Shad here?
Put pork rinds around Shad. Something that's going to force Shad to have to sell. No, not Shad. It's going to force the owners to have to come against Shad to push him to sell the team.
Wow.
Like
you're going to dangerous territory.
It's got to be good. And
let's think about the times that's happened.
But this is
it hasn't. You're talking about Donald Sterling.
But what I'm saying, Donald Sterling, it was bad, but Donald Sterling got out, and Donald Sterling made his money.
I mean, Snyder was giving like admission to topless cheerleading pictures, and he still got the team.
I don't know how Snyder.
I don't know what you got to pull out to make this happen.
I don't know, but they got. The Sterling thing is funny, but Sterling, like you got actually, it has to be on a level of Donald Sterling.
Well, Sterling laughed his way to the bank.
Sterling is 88 years old.
Sterling's family, I think.
Okay, all right, that's what I'm saying. That's fine. Like
they set him up.
What I believe, the thing about it, because it sounds weird, but this is exactly what it is. And I'm not judging, because if I had the kind of money, I want it too. I'm not giving it to my school. I'm giving it to, I want to buy a pro team if I'm a billionaire.
Okay.
It's the fact that you get to own people, not just workers. The working part is whatever, man. Like, you could go find an accountant anywhere. You could build an accountant agency. But how many times can you have 53 well-oiled machines? Well, machines, some better than others, on a field in the sun in the South, working with whistles and people yelling at them and cursing at them in all kinds of conditions.
We can't go down this
and
road,
you pay
man.
them. But no, what I'm saying, that's the real, like, miss me with it. You can believe what you want to believe. That's the intrigue, because only 32 people get to do that.
That's not why they're doing it.
Maybe other issues, but it is the ultimate NFT. The NFL pro sports is the ultimate NFT. Nobody else can own that except for you until you sell it. And when you sell it, you get more money. But the problem is, once you sell it, you can't just buy back in. So I think we need to push out something where he's talking about, redneck Jacksonville's redneck Riviera or something. Like something crazy where he offends
that ain't gonna do it.
everybody, because that would probably be like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that is right.
That's not gonna work.
That's good. That's going to be.
We're gonna have to, it's got to be like Gruden-esque.
We gotta have. We have to have emails with one of his renderings is like downtown Jacksonville with like the most stereotypical Southern white fantasy land.
Still not gonna do it.
Right where the landing is.
Still not gonna do it. Still not.
They're not gonna do it.
No, it's gonna have to offend.
I'm just saying, that's the only. If Balky was truly for the people, Balky would go out there and plant the evidence. He looks like he's fed. You've snitched on somebody before.
He does look like the typical FBI guy in a Netflix series.
He was the first kindergarten to be on the patrol in elementary school, and he was 5 years president of the safety patrol. Your kid's doing it just to be able to go to class late or whatever the rules.
He wants to go to DC.
Oh well, he ain't just out there for the safety of the kids. It's the reason why he's out here doing it.
Balky is. Do you remember another person in Jacksonville more universally hated?
No, because everybody.
I mean,
everybody but my boy, except for I can't say.
Balky is bringing us together, bro.
There's only one person who said anything nice about Balky. He didn't go out. He didn't say it in public. He said it in DMs, and it wasn't that he was good at his job. It was just like, we all, we think he's really a nice guy. He's done really well. We just hated Urban. I'm like, yeah, only your department, like Balky. Everybody else hates him.
I mean, he in some ways has unified a city. We don't see black or white anymore. We just see clowns.
Clown or Balky,
right?
Which is a clown,
right? So, I mean, I guess we kind of owe him a thank you to that, but we're good now. I'd rather there be racial tension with a winning football team.
Oh, without a doubt.
Right?
I go back. This whole situation has made me go back to 17, October-ish, right? Isn't that right? Whenever we went to London is where it was the tipping point. Like the boys took a knee. Everybody hated them. It probably. You know what? Miles, Trevor, if you're listening, maybe I should take a knee. It brought them together. Like everybody hated them. Listen. Everybody hated them, and then they started winning. Man, Barbara Jean calls in and says, "Well, I tell you what, our whole section's not going to come."
You are giving the worst advice ever right now.
I just want the team
when they
to
took
be
a knee,
unified.
they were like 3-2 or 4-1 or something, bro.
Oh, I thought they were.
We haven't won a game in since then.
No, I thought they were worse than. No, we had the Seahawks game we won. That was.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like since that season.
No, I'm saying, but I thought it was like they were on a.
They had more capital back then. Okay. Now it's like we're looking for reasons not to go.
Okay, I was like, but I was.
You know what? I don't boycott stuff. I'm looking for a way not to have to talk about them.
No. This is what I said. I like. Bottom line, they don't get. They hire one of Balky's boys. I think as a staff, we just go ahead and become a national show. Fuck the Jags.
I just
we can't talk about the Jags anymore, man.
We're not talking about sports anymore, Balky. That's what you're doing to us.
Like it's just
you've made me hate football. You've made me hate football in Jacksonville. Like anytime 2 days ago, 3 days ago, it was fun to go on Twitter. Now it's not. Now it's hell. And then what makes it worse is these games are so amazing right now. No, the last 2 weeks.
That's not what makes it worse. What makes it worse is you had a chance to get Pat Mahomes. You did not have a chance to get Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow's in year 2, and you see what happens when you do something crazy out of left field, like draft an explosive wide receiver. Hold up. Multiple years, draft multiple explosive wide receivers. Crazy, right? Oh, hold up. Running back with a mean right hook.
Mm-hmm.
Last one we had one of those was MJD. He was a Russian champion. You got to start looking.
They tried it with Didi.
Yeah. But Didi was too focused on wanting to be a rapper, hanging out with Wayne and those guys.
Is he out of the league?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about him.
I know. I thought he was going to be good.
I mean, yeah. But even then, you got him in the 4th round.
Mm-hmm.
So you knew this could work. But let's get a first round guy. Perfect example of making it work. I guess this is kind of weird. Arizona, when they drafted Anquan Bolden, they drafted a wide receiver in the 1st round and drafted Quan in the 2nd round. Quan ended up being the better one in the long term, but heck, what's the hurt? We haven't had an offensive weapon like that in a minute.
Well, you just watch these games, man, and it's like, I get it. These are the best teams in football. They're going to execute at a higher level. But to see Cincinnati, who had the first pick 2 years ago, and they're down by 10?
21-3. So more.
Oh, yeah. Okay. They're down a lot more. Come back and win at Arrowhead against the best quarterback in football. And we can't hire a freaking coach.
Losing their tight end, one of their weapons, and going up against one of the best offensive attacks. And like you said, we can't hire a coach.
It's pathetic.
But
man.
it's just
pathetic.
This is why I'm against.
And by the way, their owner sucks too, and he's figured out how to get it right.
Step out the way.
I mean, that's the crazy thing.
This is the thing that's the most remarkable is I can't just I'm gonna let you do your thing. But when your thing interferes with me doing my thing, then I gotta fire you doing your thing. All you gotta do, Shy said, you know what, me and Tony, we don't know nothing about football. But here's what we're gonna do. We thought we hired the best that could help us. Dude, the results getting worse. Get out of here. We're gonna keep hiring until we find somebody that's giving us measurable, tangible results. Not that, oh man, it feels better. Oh, they're just bouncing around and joking. And
what happened though? Because this time last year, regardless of what you thought about Urban Meyer, it was the biggest hire in the offseason. He committed a lot of money to the Performance Center. You drafted Trevor Lawrence. And so everybody was like, oh, Shad's all the way in.
Yes.
And even before that, when you go back to when he hired Marone, he brought in Coughlin, which at the time was a big time move.
It would have been a good move if Coughlin just the hardest part about that is Coughlin never made the step into front office management. And I think because Caldwell has come out and apologized too about some of the things in his encounters as well. Yeah, my boy Caldwell said, hey, I made really one big mistake, big mistake. I learned from that. Shouldn't have done that. Don't blur the lines is basically it. But you got Coughlin that's blurring the lines, so it's kind of like, all right, we all think we can do that,
but not to even relive that. But what happened was Shad to the point where now, I don't care what you think about Shad. Like, you can't argue this. It seems like he don't give two craps about this. Like, the fact that it has now been 7 weeks. 7 weeks since we fired the coach, at least, right? I mean, how do you justify that?
Boy, just sent me a screenshot. You know what makes this worse?
What?
Even though they didn't win, Juwan Taylor. Still, nobody's really sure. We're still kind of up and some people don't like him. Some think he could be workable. Blah blah blah. Some people had him as a 1st round pick that year. We picked him at 35. You know who picked at 36?
Who?
San Francisco. You know who they picked?
Debo.
It's like it hurts more when you see like guys that you can't even. We don't know what our future is with this guy, and then the next pick, you have a guy who's gonna be a cemented player.
I am very against doing that though, because you could literally do that with every GM that there is. And by the way, Debo may be my favorite player in the NFL right now. Just all personality, style, way he plays the game. Like he may be the most fun guy to watch.
Oh, he's fun.
In the NFL.
He's true in offensive innovation. Like he's actually what Percy, Reggie Bush. I would even argue, he was before those guys. But like if Peter Wark would have been a generation behind, it's easier to get you need to get the ball. He's the best player on your offense. You got to figure out how to get the ball in his hands in as many creative ways.
He's running by DBs and running over linebackers.
He's thick.
Like, yeah. I mean, he is takes a shot yesterday.
Yeah, I thought he was dead.
And then comes back in one play.
Right.
And for anybody, by the way, on Twitter, man, y'all got to stop this. Man, all that, and he's back in one play. You ain't never had the breath knocked out you. It feels like you are dying. Like, it is the most helpless feeling that you can imagine in your life. And for a good, 2 minutes, it feels like, okay, my life is over. It's a wrap. And then all of a sudden you just feel better.
Well, you don't even really know how much better you feel. I'm gonna say
you can breathe
because you can breathe.
Right.
Well, people don't. You went from like it was COVID pneumonia is the only thing that like came close to it. But like for 1 second, you're sitting there, your mind and everything in your body is trying to figure out how can I.
Yeah, that's your only focus.
And then you're like terrified. You're spazzing out because you can't do something that you're supposed to naturally do. And then all of a sudden,
all right, I'm alive.
All right, I'm alive. And you get up and then you go play again. And you know what? You know when you feel it? Tomorrow.
You remember
or maybe
you remember what they used to do when you got the breath knocked out of you? Which by the way, thinking back, like this had to break a law. They would like curl their fingers up in your waistband and lift. They never did that, bro. I all the time. If somebody's watching that did this, maybe I'm too old. But when you had your breath, their thought was to like get your waistband off of you so you could just I don't know, but that's what they would do.
Man, some of the stuff that
I'm sitting there watching this, I'm like, well, how come nobody's fingering him?
Right.
What's happening?
I remember.
Is there not a doctor here?
I remember in high school, I made a tackle, and the guy did the little thing, flare up thing with his feet, and his feet
hit he right in the nuts,
and they went and
yes.
one disappeared.
Yes,
and you could I went from feeling like really really bad and having to, and my coach like you have to relax, you can't spaz out, to not moving to if it came down eventually. And I was good. I could go run. I could do some stuff. But when it was up there,
bro, I had the
there.
same thing on a crack block. Rock the dude and his foot just right in the spot. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like a lot of the stuff.
Speaking of that, Northeast Florida Executive Health and Med Spa. I mean,
make you feel like they drop.
Right. Right. Get to Northeast Florida Executive Health and Med Spa over off of St Johns Bluff. If you're not feeling right, I'm telling you guys, go see them. Let them help you. You don't want to operate at like 20%. Let's push that. I'm 45. Like, you don't have to feel, and I'll admit, like, I'm not in the best shape right now. I got to get back to where I was like 3 years ago, to where I was 42, but I felt like I was 30. And a large part of that is guys like Northeast Florida Executive Health and Med Spa pointing you in that right direction. Stop reading like health magazines and trying to figure that crap. Stop Googling it. Go to a doctor and figure out what's going on. That's the best way to do it. And if you're struggling in the bedroom, you should have already went. I don't know what you're waiting on. Like, you're letting life pass you by right now.
Like the Biscotti guy that we're interviewing, the former Raiders, the guy who was filled in for the Raiders.
Okay.
Like,
I'm pretty sure his name's not Biscotti, but go ahead.
Whatever. That's what I read. Like, whatever.
I didn't know where you were going with this. I'm like, we're interviewing somebody named Biscotti?
He's my mom's age.
Okay. He is?
He was born in 1960. Don't know what
he dyes his hair. No question.
Oh, well, he's showing the gray.
Is he?
Picture, yeah. But my point is this. See, 60. I'm not even gonna say. Bottom line is, my mom's retired. How about that? My man's in retirement age. Like, might need a little juice, a little boost. Wouldn't hurt.
Right.
Like, because if you're gonna come in coaching all these young guys, got a young quarterback, make sure you're on par and you're on page with what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. Get to Northeast Florida Executive Health and Med Spa. For the record, Pat Mahomes lost that game for them yesterday.
Oh, without a doubt.
Spazzed out over and over and over. Tried to do too much when he didn't have to do too much, because you got the best players in the league around you. Like, I don't even understand what he was doing.
I think so. My man Sean King, not the fake black guy, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
former quarterback,
former quarterback, made this statement about Jordan Travis during the season. He's not wrong. Hell, he's forgotten quarterback stuff that I know. But he was like, this is what happens when they put the other boy, the one with one leg, McKenzie. And they were like, this is what happens or how offense looks when your quarterback doesn't just scramble around and sit in the pocket. And that statement stuck with me, but I'm like, that's the only way that their offense consistently moves. And then I'm looking at the Chiefs, and that's one of the benefits of having Pat. I even came on here and talked about it. His ability to prolong a play helps his receivers get open until the DBs run like a man zone hodgepodge, basically passing off guys and then just sitting there, knowing that eventually somebody's coming, even in scramble drill, somebody's coming back to your area. So now all of that wasted movement is doing nothing but delaying the inevitable.
Well, you can't do that when you're inside the 20 because where they have it going on is vertically. Like if he buys time, at some point Tyreek Hill's outrunning everybody.
Right.
And he's got the arm to get it to him. But if you're inside the 20 and you shrink the field, like you just can't do that.
But look at Joe Burrow, who is obviously, younger, but is more of your traditional quarterback. Drop straight. I'm not saying this. It's just who he reminds me of right now. I'm sorry. He's giving me Brady vibes. And what I mean by that is like he's competitive.
Yeah.
He's no
nonsense. Just a football player.
He's just a football player. And then talks trash with the best of them.
Yep.
He's quoting rap lyrics. Brady's saying, even though people wanted to bash Brady with the MAGA hat and stuff like that, but you're not hanging out with Migos in the club after the Super Bowl. Like, this is just the man's just
no, I agree.
And I'm liking that about Burrow, but he's straight letting his athletes be athletes, but in the function of a traditional offensive system. And I think what happens with Kansas City is because they have all the tools to be innovative and traditional. They got a fullback, they got great tight end play, they've got the ability to be smash mouth, but everywhere. They just got too cute. And you had and I'm glad it happened the way it happened because it basically backed up what I said last Wednesday about overtime rules. Cincinnati didn't cry. They lost the toss. They went out there and they played defense and they allowed their special teams to win the game for them. 2/3. You always have to win 2/3 of the game, no matter what it is. They just came out there and just dominated KC, and KC had a chance at the end of the first half, in the beginning of the second half, actually twice in the beginning of the second half, to put that game away. And they didn't. They got cute.
Yep.
And what's wild is it wasn't even a misdirection when they tried. Like
most at the end of the first half,
when they're inside, I think they're on their 2, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, man ball. If we're gonna run it twice, the first time we might get stopped, then I may run a pass play. But I'm gonna run the ball one time in that situation with the timeouts. But you're not even play actioning. So one, you're just saying straight up pass, and you're only going one way. Most of the times it's a late release play going on the backside. That guy's always open. Like you're just playing to their strength. And I didn't understand the play calling. I did not understand the decision making on Pat, because even if the play call was boneheaded, they had to throw the ball to somebody's feet, kick the field goal. Let's move on. Well, it reminds me of when the Jags played Cincinnati.
An interception is not the worst. It's the last play of the half.
Right.
Just throw it into the end zone.
But what I'm saying, give somebody a chance, or again, kick the field goal, get the points, go into the half. What would have been up 7? No, up. At that point, it was.
We remember that because that's when we were trying to count money.
Right. I'm saying, like, go into it. And it was crazy because I almost did this parlay because our former cover the Jags, now covers the Eagles, Mike K, was like, I believe, boom, boom. And I'm like, it's a little weird. I didn't think San Francisco was going to win because of quarterback play. But I was like, man, what if I take that parlay? And it was like somebody showed me $100 would have got you 8. And I'm like, man, I should have went ahead and done what I wanted to do.
Can I ask you about that statement you just made? Why is everybody so against Jimmy G?
Because like the last 2 plays of what Jimmy G did a lot of those last 2 plays of the game, the end of the game, the entire game. And he does it a lot. And it's not that he's not the worst quarterback by any means. It's just that Jimmy G ain't great.
I mean, if the object is to win football games, he does it, bro.
I mean, Brad Johnson did it as well.
Yeah.
But Brad Johnson by no means is a Hall of Fame quarterback.
But like people were talking about like Trent Dilfer and people like that. Dude, Jimmy G has done this for the last 4 years. They were almost in their second Super Bowl in 3 years. People forget that.
All right, check this. Using this, the goal is to win games, even though the guys when they went through 3 coaches in 3 years, play sometimes diminishes that way. Colin Kaepernick went to back-to-back and went to a Super Bowl, had a Super Bowl one, and the year after that, he was when they fired their coach, he was benched. It's okay. It happens. You can be winning and you could have been effective. He's just not the guy that you believe is going to beat you.
I just think he gets a lot of criticism.
Okay, so
for
like
a guy who I think he's a top 15.
Man, one of the years they went, like he was like all he did was hand the ball off. They ran for like 500 yards in a playoff game.
Yeah,
I'm not knocking him. It's just I didn't think he was again, that situation with the Rams. Now he plays any other team, he probably has a better game. It doesn't make those same mistakes. But I don't think to put it out there, I don't think Matt Stafford's been playing great at quarterback this year. Either his stats.
He's going through spurts. He's going through spurts. He had like a 4-week spurt that was
like
bad,
the interception that the guy should have, the punt that he threw. Like he does those things like that, which is part of the reason right now. If somebody asked me to make a bet right now, who do I think is going to win the Super Bowl? As crazy as it sounds, I think Cincinnati will win because their quarterback doesn't do what Jimmy G and what Matt Stafford do. Like when he throws the ball, it's with intentions.
It's a quarterback league. There's no doubt, which is why going into yesterday, I thought it was going to be Kansas City, LA, just because it's like, okay, if everything else equal, who's got the better quarterback? But I don't know. I just think Jimmy G gets a lot of. I don't think you could plug just anybody into that offense and have the same success. That's my point. Where I'm not sure, and I'm a huge Matt Stafford guy. I'm not sure that the Rams aren't just as good with Jimmy G as they are Matt Stafford. You see what I mean with that? Like, I think Jimmy G gets them into a lot of good situations, which is why I don't think Trey Lance got much playing time. It's just Trey Lance is young.
I think he gets you better. He's better for you right now than Trey Lance is. Mm-hmm. But I think if San Francisco, I'm trying to think.
Jimmy G's on the Titans. What happens?
I say pretty similar.
He's better than Tannehill, though.
Yeah,
right?
I say similar. No, I mean not because Jimmy G's like their offense is not going through Tannehill. When it does go through Tannehill, they struggle.
Oh, I'm not saying
it goes through Derek,
and I'm not saying Jimmy G needs to be the guy like Mahomes is.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think he takes a lot of unfair criticism when you look at the way he plays the game. I think the guy wins. He's tough.
I'm gonna put really the onus on both, and that was a fun game to watch. Really bad offensive play calls all around.
I agree with that. Yeah, especially for like there was this 10-minute window
and time management. Like what I don't understand is how we were talking about this. Like NFL, like the week before, how many times the defenses were lined up and they weren't ready.
Yeah,
like how. Why weren't the referees calling any delay of game? Like one time the guy was going in started his motion at 1 and they snapped the ball clearly after 0 and it was just no
I thought the officiating, like all in all this year, I thought it's been a little bit better because they seem to be letting them play a little bit more.
If you're going to be consistent,
you know what I mean?
I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. It doesn't, I mean, I still question it.
Because I thought they tried to give it to Kansas City a couple times yesterday.
I can see that.
Yeah. There were a couple of those calls. It's like, come on. But to your point, they were fairly consistent with both sides. And just for the record, we don't talk about defensive play calls very much. The spy delayed blitz that Cincinnati ran, genius. Absolutely genius. Like, it froze Mahomes. Mm-hmm. The play that he fumbled, and the game should have been over then. Like, it froze that man.
You know what this is what scares me about the future, right? Because my son absolutely loves Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Like, really into it, likes football, and I had to explain to him overtime rules, and he's like, I thought both they did have a chance to score. One guy screwed up. The way he plays and the way he holds the ball, like, it's so reckless in the way he throws it. Sometimes he just gets away with it. Like we talked about Jameis with the 30 interceptions that year. And they looked at Patrick. And the reason why Pat was struggling in the beginning of the year, and they talked about over the course of his career, the dropped interceptions or the turnovers that didn't happen is so high with him. He's boom or bust.
Yeah.
but like that's an exciting way to play. So what's going to happen on a Pop Warner level? What's going to happen on?
Well,
a high
can we
school
talk
level?
about that? Because
sure.
there's actually, this is a big thing in the quarterback world right now, is where do you hold the ball pre-pass? Because the old days you held it way up high, which is not smart on any level because it's very accessible. But the new thought is we want arm fluidity, right? So we want to be able to get rid of the ball quicker by being fluid, right?
Okay.
You can't be that fluid if the ball is in a traditional place. And so if you look at the way the off-platform throws he makes, and he's not alone. Aaron Rodgers, same way. Like Aaron Rodgers just don't run around as much. Kyler's the same way. They're able to do a lot of that because they do hold the ball a little lower than what most people do. It is a little more reckless, but I think it far outweighs because the throws they're able to get to quickly.
Okay.
Then it's interesting
I guess
because
the way I look at it, and I'm glad you explained that. If you have big hands and strong hands that can help, but I look at it from a running back's perspective.
No, and you should.
So like if you're carrying the ball like this, like a loaf of bread, or as my coaches say, if there's daylight in the cavity, meaning your elbow and your rib cage are separated, that's the easiest way to fumble a ball. And I look at Fumbleina, Cam Akers, and like why he's having
what
issues
the hell, dude?
is because of how he's holding the ball.
He's
like,
a big dude,
it's so simple. When you're coming down, like a lot of times people want to run hard. So the easiest, your lower body has to mimic what your upper body does. So you jam hard,
Right.
but what a lot of people think is I'm coming out here. No, this is the same elbow tight coming down is the same amount of movement. Actually, it's more efficient than having your arm all the way out, but it feels better out here. But when you're in a pile, like you're gonna get easily stripped.
It's really interesting because in RPO world now, if you think about quarterback play, like everything is chest neutral. Everything chest is like pointing at the field, and it expands your vision.
Yep.
Right. Whereas when we all grew up, you were turned
your back.
Right. You even on your drop, you were heavy crossover turn, and when you do that, all you can see is the right side of the field, even like the right, maybe the quarter. Right. So now because you're chest neutral, the ball's lower. Right. You're coming off of play fakes, things like that. You're running differently. You're surveying differently. That's why you're able to see more quarterbacks extend the play. I mean, you look at Kyler's squaring cats up. Like Kyler's playing one-on-one basketball with guys. There's a risk with that. There's definitely a risk.
It's interesting. And again,
but I don't get Cam because Cam, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm a big Cam Akers guy. We talked about Cam Akers coming out of college, and I was like, man, this dude he has everything, dude. He has everything to take the league over. He just can't hold on to the ball.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks has been. I think that's in his head. I think it was him wanting to come back, wanting to make a play, wanted to have an impact, and Sony Michel's over right there with him. You're competing, and hey, when the season's over with, you just gotta.
That may be the prop bet I take.
Is
the under on number of carries for him in the Super Bowl because I'm not sure they can trust him.
I wouldn't give him the ball.
Yeah,
and it's not even so much like he could be the best running back in our room, but for consecutive weeks, you've put the ball on the turf in situations where I can't, where we can't have that. So, I got to go with sure bets. So, I mean, who knows?
I don't know what that number is going to be, but if it's anything more than like 8, I think I'd have to take the under on that.
Hopefully, I'll get a chance to. That's a question I want to ask. Like, and not like in a disrespectful man. I'm just like, hey man, how are you going? What's going on?
Are you going?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said you weren't going.
No, I'm not going to. I might not go to the game,
but you are going to LA.
I'm going to LA for at least a couple of days to go out and cover and check stuff out.
Okay.
But Trey's first playoff game is, but like I don't.
David, Marvin, and Mike are out there.
Oh, well, gotta go.
Yeah.
Gotta go link up with.
Yeah, they were in the box last night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just. But the cool thing about football right now is how cyclical it is. Remember, not a few years ago, damn near a decade ago. 2010, Arkansas brought the Wildcat back, right? Was it 2010 or was it a little bit before?
It was before that.
Okay, anyway, they brought the Wildcat back. Everybody's like, oh, this is innovative. Single week. It's not innovative.
Well, Auburn with Cadillac Williams in them did it.
Multiple backs.
Right? Mason, was that his name?
Yeah. Smash mouth football, right? So you come we go back and we look at college, and everybody talks about the spread. That's not how Georgia beat Bama. Georgia didn't spread them out and go athlete for athlete.
We've been talking about this for 4 years on our
What
show.
Georgia did was they went tighter and went
13 personnel.
Like, again, so what did Georgia do for people who don't understand? They had 2 tight ends and a damn fullback, basically, and said, run it. And I think we're going to see eventually a shift. It might not be for long.
Well, we have been talking about this for 5 years, and at the very like, who's the best linebacker coming out of the draft? Nakobe Dean, right?
Right.
Nakobe Dean, I think, is the best player coming out of the draft. Nakobe Dean's 220 pounds. So if you're going to play a 220-pound linebacker, I'm better off to send 340 pounds at you with one guy and another 270 at you with another. And, oh, by the way, a 225-pound running back.
So a lot of people, for whatever, the most popular clip of me at Florida State is not of me. It's of Greg Jones running over an iconic player in Sean Taylor. So, but what happens is when they show that, and then Greg running over Dexter Reed. Both plays I'm in, North Carolina. Yeah. Both plays I'm in, same year. Both plays I destroyed the Mike linebacker. Mike linebacker, who I did against Miami, happened to be John Vilma, who is absolutely insane from a smart standpoint, from a physicality standpoint, and a speed. If we would have ran a sweep, I can tell you there is tons of footage playing against that MFer where he just beats me to the point on the sweep, and there's nothing, like, I'm not fast enough to get there.
Right.
But on an ISO,
right,
I'm 245, 250 at that time. He's 220.
And you're moving,
and I'm moving,
yep.
And he's and it's two, and I've already forced him to think, because when he ran that 4.3, I don't run 4.3. So when I came in there, hit him right in the knee, cut his ass, flipped him up. So now he's gonna run 4.7. Bet, let's run 4.7 all day. I got you thinking now.
Yeah,
4.7. I'm coming in and punching you right in your mouth, because now we're the same speed.
Right.
But my weight comes into account.
Yep.
And I think that's where that's the, like, to be honest, that's what I want. And then when I'm thinking about teams like what Cincinnati can do, when they want to, they could just run the ball on you, because they've invested in having a good running game. And now then you have to play the run. So now they have a good vertical passing game that's not a lot of gimmicks, not a lot of motion, not a lot of moving around. It's either we're going to punch you in the mouth or we're going to knock you out, take your head off.
It's interesting because we do pro day prep and combine prep and stuff like that with quarterbacks, and all of that's still under center. All of that's still old school play action. Like, it's interesting that I think the football minds know that if you want sustainable success, you either got to have a top quarterback, or you got to run the ball.
Yep.
Like, if you don't have a generational talent at quarterback, you better run the ball. And there's at most 3 or 4 of those in the NFL at any given time.
It doesn't matter what level of football you play. You can win a lot of ball games with great defense and running the ball, because there's only so many. It's only 60 minutes. You got to be able to.
Yep.
Time of possession is one of those things that if you're always dictating it, you're going to win most of your games.
Let's get to Green Acres, Miles. GreenAcresSporting.com. Get over there for all your hunting and fishing needs. Normandy Boulevard. Huge selection of guns. A lot of ammo. You got knives. You got bows, arrows. You got fishing supplies. You got boots. You don't have Yeti coolers, even though James says you do. They don't. I looked.
They have another type. I forgot.
Right. Bottom line is, if you're going anywhere else, then you're just being silly. You're not helping us out. You're not helping yourself out. You're really just being stubborn. Get to Green Acres. Go to greenacresporting.com. Z will help you out with anything you need. If you don't know a lot about what you're going in there for, don't worry about it. He's got you. They can educate you. Concealed weapons classes every day.
Yep.
So you can get to greenacresporting.com and they can get you taken care of. Do we have any hated clocks?
Yeah, mine is still
Trent. Trent.
I guess
let's rename the segment to just balking.
Just balking at life. It's just it's interactions on social media with people. It's a couple of things. But the first one was this. And I'll give them props. Ryan Green, at Ryan Green 10XL on Twitter, I think.
Hack
Or Hack, yeah.
Okay,
It's not Hack.
I don't know what it is.
Anyways, go follow him. Listen to the Lunch Bunch. Look for their interview with Michael Robinson. Michael Robinson, I played against him in my last game in college. The Orange Bowl.
Where do you go to college?
He went to Penn State. He was the starting quarterback at Penn State. Actually, Big Ten Player of the Year that year at quarterback, fullback in the NFL. But
that's that Michael Robinson.
That's that Michael Robinson.
I never put it together.
So I didn't know he played fullback though. I thought he was just like I know they moved him, but I thought they moved him to running back. Has some really pointed things to say about Trent Baalke. Yep. You should go check it out. And Trent Baalke told him, it was funny because he said, at best, you're a fourth string fullback, which was, I'm like, wow, there's
no such thing.
That's mean.
Yeah, there's literally no such thing at any level. Yeah. Nobody carries four fullbacks.
Barely carry one. To get cut to go to Seattle to become a Pro Bowl fullback a few years later, which is ironic and just shows. And his thing was, I just don't think he's a good eye for personnel. And then, you'll see people go in the comments because he's on a local big station here in Jacksonville. And they're like, well, look at your stats. He was right. And I just went, I'm like, how do you look at a fullback stats and tell somebody, like, what stats? And he's like, oh, fanboy, Michael Robinson fanboy. I'm like, no, I played against Mike. I actually don't like Mike, not just because we lost to Penn State, even though I was tired and ready for the game to be over. We still lost. I still remember that loss. He took some man-sized shots that game. I can't believe he was walking. Then he brought up comparing him to Greg Jones, and I'm like, have you seen? I said, one, I played with G, and have you ever seen G's stats? Remove the first 3 years because he was a tailback his first 3 years. Look at G as a fullback. You don't have stats. You may have 1 or 2 touchdowns if you're good.
It's like an interior defensive lineman, judging them by sacks.
Right. It's a guard. You're a skinny guard. Your job is to block, catch a couple passes out the backfield, play special teams. That's what you do as a fullback. But people make these comments about guys whose resume, forget what it is. At the end of the day, he played at that level. He's there. He's not belittling. Yeah, he's not belittling. I'm not belittling somebody's opinion on football. I'm just saying, if I played at San Francisco and you were my general manager, I have a right to have an opinion on you because my experience trumps anything that you've ever dealt with as a civilian. And I think sometimes people have to step back and even and realize that that's not the flex you think it is.
Yeah.
What are your stats? Because at the end of the day, if that's what we're judging my opinion on, my stats or his stats will always be better than yours. You don't even have that to bring into it. There is no repertoire that you have. On top of why? My bad. I said nobody. That's technically the strongest defense for Baalke that I've seen. Somebody mad that Michael Robinson told his story and his truth about it.
Yeah.
I think just sometimes just people just before you throw that, well, look at what you did in the league out. Just look at the position and then now if it's a wide receiver or if it's Lucky Whitehead and you're like, dude, you had 3 catches.
2.
3
fumbles.
3 fumbles. He can't come at you and say, well, how many catches do you have? And you can come out and say, dude, you got way more fumbles than I've ever had.
Right.
But a guy who's playing his position, playing it well,
Lucky's still playing.
Really?
Like Canada or something like that. I got it's funny, small world. I met Lucky.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ask him about his dog?
No, I didn't. No, wasn't the time, but he trains down in Naples with Gardner sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got it's always harder to make fun of somebody after you've met them.
Unless you become good.
Lucky kind of scares me because if I ain't gonna lie to you, if you can say your dog was stolen, what can you say about me after you've buried my body somewhere?
That's true. Yeah, people really
sorry. Maybe put a reward out for his dog. Yeah. I've seen this and Ozarks.
That's
which, by the way, do you watch that?
I've heard people. I heard people upset about the way it ended.
It's not over. It's not over. It's not over.
I'm just saying, people were.
We all need to do some Google research. There's part 1 and part 2 of the last season. Part 2 hasn't come out.
Okay, all I saw was, oh my God, So I'm like, hey, okay,
no. There's more coming. You haven't watched Ozark?
And then my last piece is this, and I know they're going to watch
That's
it.
my hate.
And I'm saying this because I hope they get this, and I hope they hear this because it doesn't make any sense. Because I don't know how to operate. Like, you have a better relationship with my alma mater than I do.
Okay,
just putting it out there. But like,
that's not true. I have a better relationship with like 2 people. The 2 people that count. Yeah, but I'm just saying. Like, I don't. Saying, yeah.
But my point is that that's one of them. One of them. I get sports information's job. Mm-hmm. Their job is to check out, look, direct media inquiries to protect the program for the most part. What I don't understand is when they already know who you are, you're on a first name basis with these people. And they act like every time like this is something brand new. And I get it, you got to have protocols and stuff like that. But there was an email that Freddie got. Most of the time the coaches have just inboxed us and said we want to hop on your show. And I'm like, cool. Mike did this. Like, I didn't request it. And that's what, again, I was telling people, like, I liked Mike before, but I really was like, okay, man, yo, this is.
We were checking to make sure it wasn't a burner
I was like, this
account.
is bold. Like, I had to make sure the check mark was there. I was like, you just came from a 3-6 season. And everybody was like, man, James just be on whole word. I'm like, but he came on. It was great talk. I've seen him numerous times. But I think it's dope. I think it's all love. He's never told me. I don't know what he tells you or other people, but it's never been like, hey, man, damn that big-headed fullback. Even though times I'm like, man, he probably wants to say like, yo, what kind of university likes fullbacks as much? Like, these guys talking about standard. My point is this. Everybody who's affiliated with Florida State over in the Moore Center knows who I am, knows who Freddie Stevens is, knows who a lot of people. I'd be damned if you send me email saying, hey, saw you got a request with one of our coaches. What do you want to talk about? I told Freddie, bro, answer it like this. Tell them we want to talk about season 4 of The Wire. What the hell you think I want to talk? Like,
what coach?
I think he asked for Mike and a couple other players who, once I put these, I'm telling you, dog, y'all done made it so hard. Once I put this NIL stuff in, them boys work for me, bro. Them boys better come on when I tell them to come on. See, and if you step in the way, you're going to affect their money, and you need to go talk to them. And guess what's going to happen when I put this stuff out there?
We started the show with you talking about billionaires get to own people, and now you end the show with these guys going to work for me.
Well, if
I own these dudes.
I didn't say I own them.
Because I'm paying them.
I didn't say I own them. They have every right to not sign the NIL deal. But when I release this NIL deal with actual money behind it and not trying to go collect donations like I do for my damn book bag drives to pay guys, they asses is coming on. And if you got something to say about it, go talk to them and tell them not to cash the damn check I send them, okay? I just want to put that out there. But my point is that at a certain point, you should know who the hell it is that you're talking to. If I ask to talk to Mike Norvell, I don't care about Mike Norvell's thoughts on the Jacksonville mayoral race. I don't want his thoughts on anything other than Florida State football. If I ask to speak to Jordan Travis, I'm not going to ask him about the intricacies of the wing tee. I want to know about the throw.
What if this is some new employee there?
It's not. I know it's the same guy that I dealt with.
Okay, I tried to help y'all out, Florida State. I got nothing.
And the problem that I have with it is, because I don't talk to Tag, but there's a couple other guys that were in his office that I have good relationships with, and they're like, "Yo, James, I'm so glad we got to know you." And I'm like, "What the hell does that mean?" He's like, "Bro, you would have thought you was like public enemy number 1 over here. They told us not to deal with you." I'm like, "Why? What did I do?" Like, dang. I think I know what it stems from the article that I wrote right before Jimbo left, but when I got the information that Jimbo was going to clean house. Mm-hmm. And he was going to bring in a whole bunch of other people. And Jimbo read that article in the staff room when it was on Gridiron Now.
That was bold.
Oh, he knew what he was doing, because you know who I got? Odell, Stanford Samuels, Mario Williams. I got calls from the guys that were on that staff that I got really good relationships with. And they was just like, "Dog, why you?" And I'm like, and then Stanford corrected me on something, not on the hires, but some of the stuff. Like, he's like, "Hey, this is where you're kind of wrong at." Because once Stanford was like, "Dog, what's up?" I'm like, "Boosie, I'm not finna write nothing that that I ain't get. So just realize that. Y'all can be mad at me all you want.
This is why
the person standing next to you reading that shit told somebody that.
This is why I was just having this conversation. This is why this is so hard for us, because this isn't a negative thing. Most writers or most radio guys go do their show, they go home, they never ever talk to these guys.
Right.
Oh, the minute we say something, we're gonna hear from them. Like, these are this is what I went back to back in October. Like, these are relationships.
Right. And some so there's like two people that you'll never, and I don't care what anybody says about me. Is this fair? No. But I will always have to see these people or deal with them. I will never be overly critical of Odell Higgins.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never be overly critical of Ron Dugans. Actually, more so Ron.
Ron was funny.
Because it ain't even about the fact that Ron, played at Florida like Dugans, but he's my age, and he technically coached me as a GA. Ron from the south side of Tallahassee. Like, that's literally the side of town I grew up on. So, like, it's like a whole bunch of other stuff that goes on. Plus, I think they're good men, and they do a good job. And if you got something, you better come with it strong. And I'm not necessarily going to go over the top to defend them. You're just not going to hear me say,
I'm defending him because he took me to lunch one day and said, I watch y'all show just to make sure y'all ain't saying anything inappropriate or out of line.
No, but to his defense, I think I told you why. It was another show that kind of went over the top a little bit, like said some things that they probably shouldn't, went places they shouldn't have went. Personal, not professionally. I'm gonna keep it professional no matter what.
No, it was funny though, because day,
but Dugan's got that intensity when he looks at you.
Yes.
Like, what? All right. Dugan not finna lose his $500,000 check, but at the same time, Dugan's didn't come up in an environment that was just all smiles of Hallmark cards and peaches and cream. Like, Dugan's is quiet and he gonna act. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't the flamboyance. It ain't gonna be a lot of words. It's gonna be like, you're gonna see him and he's gonna approach you.
Right.
He doesn't mind engaging you with what you say.
Because every school in the South that I go to, they repeat 8 o'clocks to me.
Oh, wow.
They're like, oh, when y'all said this, Dugan's just sat there and looked at me and like, yeah, I watch y'all show. Just make sure y'all don't get out of line. Like, and he even goes, tell James I'm watching.
Yeah, so Dugan's reminds me, it's not like,
it wasn't like tell James what's up.
Yeah, it reminds me like if one of my teammates who passed unfortunately a few years ago, Ty Williams. Ty was the first blindside. Like, before that, like, he literally was homeless in Bradenton. Story's great. Got drafted by the Titans in like the 7th round. Good offensive line. Ty was crazy though. Ty told one guy, it was all joking, including Todd, cracking jokes. It was a great roasting session. And then I guess the guy got the best of him. He said, "Oh man, you a funny guy. What happens when them jokes don't become funny no more?" And I said, "Yo, what the hell? What happened?
Nobody's joking anymore.
Like, nobody's joking. Nope. It didn't. Just the silence just fell on the room. And okay,
that point forward, nobody talked to Todd.
Nobody was joking with Todd anymore. But no, that's my 8 o'clock is just the stupidity sometimes that people force people to go through because of a title. And it's like, again, like, yo, all right, I get people who have no affiliation, but like, you kind of, especially in a like, when I found out we had about 5 recruits during Tag's era, which was the ironic part, that were big time recruits, went other places. They won to LSU, couple to Georgia, some other stuff like that wanted to get into sports journalism. It's like, you would think, like, okay, wow, this is what kids would want to do. Who better to get, like what they do with Brian McFadden? Amazing. Like, we only have so many of those. It would be just like, yo, but Brian's more on NFL side. You would think you would want to big up your guys who are doing it. And yeah, I'm calling you out on my platform. And it might not, again, you might not want to help me out at all now. But like I said, I'm coming for 10 of them guys. 10 of them guys gonna get a check from
I'm not calling
company.
y'all out because I'm gonna be there next week. So I'm not calling y'all out.
On?
I don't know yet.
Oh,
I don't know.
Come on, bro. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind, I can't go. My bad.
Oh, Super
unless
Bowl.
it's before Wednesday.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, but no, it's just, that's just how the thing. I think they're good at their job. I remember actually perfect, and I've been the most understanding person in the world. Because remember the one article that I wrote, we were in the studio when I got the call.
Yeah. Yep.
So they know exactly who I am, and that bitch went viral. I was like, they had me pull off. I think I had just posted it, and I want to say after just posting, they just posted it on Gridiron, which is now defunct. It might have got to like 500,000 views in like an hour or two.
Pay for those shoes.
And like, yes, which is again, I told you that's how I bought that's how I originally got into shoes. Was my Gridiron Now articles going on Bleacher and doing everything connected. They're like, hey man, can you take that down?
We gotta find a new.
I want to do it with our sports and stuff, but
thing.
I don't want to like. It just takes so much effort to get it off the ground.
We need an editor too. Like,
well, I can get it.
I don't want to hear.
It's a bunch of people.
You don't want to read what James and I write in its original form.
Not on the, especially with my thumbs.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we gotta go. I gotta get back to the facility. It's already 1:20.
All right,
that's crazy. Get to thehumidor.com. Type in sportsden when you check out. You get 20% off. Oh yeah,
they're still selling AR-15s.
Oh,
at Green Acres. Check out. I forgot about that.
You're gonna light it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you don't light those.
Well, no, you can use
like a firework.
You can use the flamethrower to light your cigar. With
there you go.
There
you go.
You got good
time
aim,
all together.
But I wouldn't recommend it. But AR-15 still all kinds of great sales with greenacres.com. Is going to go through the month of February, and hopefully we'll have some more shooting videos up this month. And
you realize what you just did? You just said bump humidor. Get to Green Acres.
No, well, we had just got done with the 8 o'clock, and I wanted to make, and then my man Z, because I don't know what happened, we still using the free trial. This is why we need sponsors, so we can get out of free trial stages of our
It was on
but no, Green Acres wasn't on. It got stuck. It got frozen last.
I don't know why it kept freezing.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like we need to buy. We got to upgrade, so we need more sponsors, and the only way we can get more sponsors is if y'all go to our current sponsors.
That's fair.
And Green Acres is selling guns and all kinds
on your way to
stuff.
Green Acres, go to thehumidor.com.
Smoke while you're going.
There you go. All right. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.